National Electrical Code Article 430, Motors, Motor Circuits, and Controllers, Section 430.133A3 requires that field-installed junction boxes, raceways, and conduit bodies be suitably protected if located in wet, damp, or corrosive locations. Section 430.145A2 prohibits the installation of motors or controllers in locations where they would be subjected to excessive moisture, unless the equipment is specifically designed for wet locations. Article 590, Industrial Control Systems, Section 590.43b requires that field wire terminals of control equipment be suitably guarded from accidental contact. The National Electrical Manufacturers Association Industrial Control and Systems Handbook Section 4.15.7 recommends that wherever possible, power and control wiring should be separated to avoid interference and or damage to the control wiring. Following industry best practices is essential. Mount receptacles in locations that minimize the risk of damage from equipment movement, water spray, or other hazards. Use corrosion-resistant enclosures and gaskets to protect receptacles in wet or corrosive environments. Consider using weatherproof covers or covers with integral ground fault circuit interrupter protection to further protect receptacles in harsh environments. Mark receptacles clearly to indicate their purpose and voltage. There are additional considerations to keep in mind. The specific requirements may vary depending on the industry, the type of equipment, and the location of the receptacles. Consult with your local electrical inspector or qualified electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and standards. Regularly inspect and maintain receptacles to ensure they are in good working order and free from any damage or corrosion. When installing 120 volts alternating current receptacles on machinery and conveying equipment in a manufacturing facility, several codes, standards, and best practices should be considered to ensure safety and compliance. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides specific guidelines for electrical installations, including those in industrial settings. Article 430, which covers motors, motor circuits, and controllers, has relevant sections. Section 430.133A3 addresses the protection of field-installed junction boxes, raceways, and conduit bodies. If these components are located in wet, damp, or corrosive locations, they must be suitably protected to prevent damage and ensure safe operation. This protection may involve using enclosures rated for the environment, such as those with an M4X rating for corrosion resistance and water tightness. Section 430.145A2 prohibits the installation of motors or controllers in locations where they would be subjected to excessive moisture, unless the equipment is specifically designed for wet locations. This requirement underscores the importance of selecting equipment rated for the environment in which it will be used. For washdown areas, equipment must be able to withstand frequent exposure to water and cleaning agents. Article 590, which covers industrial control systems, also has relevant requirements. Section 590.43b requires that field wire terminals of control equipment be suitably guarded from accidental contact. This guarding can be achieved through enclosures, barriers, or other protective measures that prevent personnel from inadvertently touching live terminals. In addition to the NEC, the National Electrical Manufacturers Association, or NEMA, provides guidance on industrial control and systems. The NEMA Industrial Control and Systems Handbook Section 4.15.7 recommends that power and control wiring should be separated wherever possible to avoid interference and or damage to the control wiring. This separation helps to minimize the risk of electrical noise and ensures that control signals are not disrupted by power circuits. Beyond codes and standards, industry best practices play a crucial role in ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical installations. One important practice is to mount receptacles in locations that minimize the risk of damage from equipment movement, water spray, or other hazards. This may involve selecting locations that are out of the direct path of machinery or elevated above floor level to avoid water accumulation. Another best practice is to use corrosion-resistant enclosures and gaskets to protect receptacles in wet or corrosive environments. These enclosures are typically made of stainless steel, fiberglass, or other materials that can withstand exposure to moisture, chemicals, and other corrosive agents. Weatherproof covers or covers with integral ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI protection can further enhance the protection of receptacles in harsh environments. Weatherproof covers shield the receptacle from rain, snow, and other environmental factors, while GFCI protection helps to prevent electrical shocks by detecting ground faults and interrupting the circuit. Clearly marking receptacles to indicate their purpose and voltage is also a crucial safety measure. This labeling helps to prevent accidental misuse of the receptacles and ensures that personnel are aware of the voltage level. In addition to these general guidelines, there are several other considerations to keep in mind when installing 120 volts alternating current receptacles on machinery and conveying equipment. The specific requirements may vary depending on the industry, the type of equipment, and the location of the receptacles. It is essential to consult with your local electrical inspector or qualified electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and standards. Regular inspection and maintenance of receptacles are also crucial for ensuring their continued safety and reliability. Receptacles should be inspected periodically for any signs of damage, corrosion, or loose connections. Any damaged or corroded component should be replaced immediately. Loose connections should be tightened to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. When dealing with washdown areas, several additional precautions should be taken to protect receptacles from moisture and chemicals. Use receptacles and enclosures specifically designed for wet locations, with features such as watertight seals and corrosion-resistant materials. Ensure that all conduits and fittings are properly sealed to prevent water from entering the electrical system. Locate receptacles in areas that are less likely to be directly exposed to water spray or splashes. Implement a regular cleaning and maintenance schedule to remove any accumulated moisture or chemicals from the receptacles and enclosures. Ground fault circuit interrupter protection is essential in washdown areas to protect personnel from electrical shocks. Ground fault circuit interrupter receptacles should be tested regularly to ensure that they are functioning properly. In addition to the NEC NEM standards and industry best practices, it is important to be aware of any local codes or regulations that may apply to the installation of 120 volts alternating current receptacles on machinery and conveying equipment. These local codes may have additional requirements or restrictions that must be followed. Obtaining the necessary permits and inspections is also crucial for ensuring compliance with all applicable regulations. Working with a qualified electrician who is familiar with the local codes and standards can help to ensure that the installation is done safely and correctly. Considering the specific needs of the manufacturing facility is also important. Factors such as the type of equipment, the frequency of use of the receptacles, and the potential hazards in the environment should all be taken into account. For example, in areas where there is a risk of explosion, explosion-proof receptacles and enclosures may be required. In areas where there is a risk of physical damage, receptacles may need to be protected by guards or barriers. The location of the receptacle should be carefully considered to ensure that they are easily accessible and do not create any safety hazards. Receptacles should be located away from moving parts, sharp edges, and other potential hazards. They should also be located in areas where they are not likely to be obstructed or damaged. The use of portable fans, tools, and other equipment powered by the receptacle should also be carefully considered. Ensure that the equipment is properly grounded and in good working order. Avoid overloading the receptacles or using extension cords that are not properly rated for the load. Regularly inspect the equipment for any signs of damage or wear. Provide training to employees in the proper use of the receptacles and the equipment powered by them. This training should cover topics such as grounding, overload protection, and the dangers of electrical shock. Emphasize the importance of reporting any electrical hazards or problems to the appropriate personnel. By following these guidelines and best practices, you can ensure that 120 volts alternating current receptacles on machinery and conveying equipment are installed safely and in compliance with all applicable codes and standards. This will help to protect employees from electrical hazards and ensure the reliable operation of the equipment. Remember to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector if you have any questions or concerns about the installation. They can provide valuable guidance and ensure that the installation meets all the necessary requirements. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any electrical installations or modifications. When planning the installation, consider the long-term needs of the facility. Will additional receptacles be needed in the future? Are there any plans to expand or modify the equipment? Incorporating these considerations into the initial design can save time and money in the long run. Choose high-quality receptacles and enclosures that are designed to withstand the rigors of the industrial environment. Avoid using cheap or substandard components that may fail prematurely. Investing in quality components will pay off in the long run by reducing maintenance costs and downtime. Implement a comprehensive electrical safety program that includes regular inspections, maintenance, and training. This program should be designed to identify and address potential hazards before they cause accidents or injuries. Encourage employees to actively participate in the electrical safety program and to report any concerns or suggestions. By creating a culture of safety, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and ensure a safe working environment. Stay up to date on the latest codes, standards, and best practices for electrical installations. The electrical industry is constantly evolving, and it is important to stay informed about the latest changes. Attend training courses, read industry publications, and network with other professionals to stay abreast of the latest developments. By staying informed, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe, efficient, and compliant with all applicable regulations. In addition to the technical aspects of the installation, it is also important to consider the human factors. Ensure that the receptacles are located in areas where they are easily accessible to employees. Provide adequate lighting in the vicinity of the receptacles. Use ergonomic designs that minimize the risk of strain or injury. By considering the human factors, you can create a more comfortable and productive working environment. Regularly review and update your electrical safety program to ensure that it is effective and relevant. As the facility changes and new equipment is installed, the electrical safety program should be updated to reflect these changes. Solicit feedback from employees on the effectiveness of the electrical safety program. Use this feedback to identify areas for improvement. By continuously reviewing and updating the electrical safety program, you can ensure that it remains effective in preventing electrical accidents and injuries. In conclusion, installing 120 volts alternating current receptacles on machinery and conveying equipment in a manufacturing facility requires careful consideration of codes, standards, best practices, and human factors. By following these guidelines and consulting with qualified professionals, you can ensure that the installation is safe, efficient, and compliant with all applicable regulations. This will help to protect employees from electrical hazards and ensure the reliable operation of the equipment.